I want you to watch this.
In the middle of the night, hundreds of armed federal agents and police, backed up by riot trucks, smoke grenades, and helicopters, breached fences and busted doors in an immigration raid on an entire apartment building on the city's south side. They pulled dozens of residents from their homes and zip ties, including children, some of them without any clothes. They then held some outside for hours and dragged the others into rented vans.
It was scary because I've never had a gun put in my face.
Neighbors like Ebony Watson says they ducked for cover as they heard several flashbangs go off.
They was terrified. The kids was crying. People was screaming. They looked very distraught. I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner because they was bringing the kids out too, had them zip tied to each other.
That wasn't some foreign capital, that wasn't some foreign city. That was Chicago, Illinois. Chicago, Illinois being attacked, a whole apartment building by ICE agents, some descending from Black Hawk helicopters, others battering down doors. It involved zip tying children, some of them terrified and naked and screaming. This was happening in an American city. And now the president is threatening to make it even worse. He's threatening to call in and has called in the National Guard to descend on cities like Chicago, like Portland, just as he did in Los Angeles, and is threatening other cities like San Francisco.
We're going to make Chicago really great again, and we're going to stop this crime. Then we're going to go to another one, and we're going to go city by city. We're going to have safe cities.
Let's be clear. Using the National Guard this way is illegal. It is unlawful. It cannot be done consistent with our law and Constitution. You cannot use military force for domestic law enforcement purposes. You cannot use it in the means in which the Trump administration is continuing to use it and threatening to deploy it elsewhere. The playbook was Los Angeles. We saw this earlier this year in Los Angeles. The deployment of California's own National Guard over the objection of the governor, over the objection of the mayor of Los Angeles, used against our own citizens. It was struck down by a lower court, although that lower court order was held in abeyance by the Supreme Court of the United States. And now that misuse of the military is being used elsewhere. In fact, in Los Angeles, not only were the National Guard not even necessary, not even useful, but the president declared they were successful even before they arrived. And of course, they were taken away from more important missions, like the military mission our Marines have, who were deployed to Los Angeles, or other efforts that the California National Guard ought to be used for, like dealing with natural disasters. This is, of course, part of what the president was talking about when he spoke to generals last week and admirals and told them that he was going to use the military to go after the enemy within, that he was going to use American cities as military training grounds. And looking at that footage from Chicago tells you exactly what he was talking about. And of course, it's not just those real scenes from Chicago, it's this video, this obscene, highly stylized, Hollywood-looking produced video put out by Kristi Noem portraying the events in Chicago. You would think watching that video, you were watching a scene out of Black Hawk Down, that this was a rescue attempt in Somalia, but no, that was in Chicago. Now, what are we doing about this? What can be done about this rampant illegality that is causing so much harm? Litigation is our most effective remedy. And in fact, when Oregon's own National Guard was threatened to be used against Oregon's own city of Portland, Oregon authorities sued and won in federal court. Federal District Judge Karen Immergut issued a scathing opinion which discussed how we are a country of constitutional law, not martial law. She said that the representations made by the government were, quote, untethered to facts. And she went on to quote James Madison, one of our founders, who said this about the misuse of the military. The means of defense against foreign danger have always been the instruments of tyranny at home. Now, when the judge in Oregon ruled that Oregon's National Guard could not be used against Oregon's own citizens, on the basis of things that were untethered to fact, the President and the administration tried to do an end run around that ruling by ordering the deployment of the California National Guard to Oregon over the objection of California's governor, over the objection of Oregon's governor, and then additionally tried to order Texas National Guard troops, hundreds of them, to Oregon based on this false claim of an insurrection or rebellion. The court in Oregon, Judge Immergitt, expanded her order to prevent the deployment of other states' National Guard as an end run around her earlier order. But here's what other top administration officials have had to say. Here's Stephen Miller in his classically hyperbolic evil speak.
Do you have any idea how much of ICE's workforce and resources have had to be reprioritized? How much of the Joint Terrorism Task Force's resources have had to be reprioritized to fight these domestic terrorists? Do you have any idea how many resources are spent
you keep
trying
calling
to
them
hunt down and
terrorists, but
track
isn't that hyperbolic to call them terrorists?
What is? If anything, I'm understating the severity of the situation.
So we're going to continue litigating against this abuse of the military. It is hard to describe just how dangerous this really is when the President of the United States is using military force against our own citizens, when he's attempting to use the National Guard from one state with one willing governor against another state. Are we really going to be turning state against state now in the president's war on the American people? Does Texas Governor Abbott really want to deploy Texas National Guard against the will of the governors in Oregon or in Illinois and risk some future president ordering the National Guard of other states to go to Texas? Is that really what he wants to invite? Is that really what we want to see as American citizens? It is most definitely not what any American should want for this country. But it certainly seems clear that this is where the administration wants to go and will continue to go, and we will continue to fight it. I wish I could say that these scenes that we're seeing in Chicago and that we may see in Portland, in San Francisco, and elsewhere, I wish I could say that this was a joke, that this was some movie, that this was another scene, frankly, out of this movie, The Blues Brothers. But no, this is as real and as serious as a heart attack. And if we continue down this road for another 4 years, what will be left of our democracy? If my Republican colleagues in other states continue to go along with this, continue to go along with this rampant lawlessness, this violation of everything that we have come to understand and support in our Constitution, that prevents our own military from being used against our own citizens, if they will not rally against this, when will they finally stand up to this president? When will they finally say that we have reached the point where enough is enough? I certainly hope it is soon, but given the track record of my colleagues here in the Congress, I'm not holding my breath. So thanks for watching tonight's video. We started doing these nightly videos as a way of identifying something really important that happened today or this week, what we should make of it, and how we can fight back. As you can see, I like to include movie clips. If you have any suggestions for other movie clips I should include in future videos, please share them with us. And thank you for following along.